Yeah, let's go. Shout out the mountain and fish. I got Iggy and what's doing right for the culture. If you just here for the views and the likes and just put out no mic, you a vulture. They let me down, but the raps did it. They let me down, but the switch did it. They let me down, but the raps did it.
This is your boy Iggy.
It's your boy Woods.
You are now tuned into another episode of Hip Hop Who's Podcast. We want to thank everybody who's been supporting us, man. We've been going crazy.
We've been going nuts.
We've been going crazy.
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've been going nuts.
But continue to keep supporting the movement. Again, how you can support me and my brother here. Like, share. We drop every single Wednesday. We're here every single Wednesday, supporting, putting in this work for you guys. So, support us with a like, a share, a comment, engage. And guys, if you have any topics, that you would like for us to talk about, holler at us, send us a message, man. And we'll try our best to, talk about it for sure.
Hit me with the goofy line, man. I'm going to call you Donald Duck. You know what I mean? Like, real talk, man.
And
ain't no goofies over here, B.
Yeah, and shout out to the Distant Cousins, man, Title League. It is what it is, man. So let's get it, man. And of course, get on the website, hhhoops.com. You're going to see all the phenomenal stuff there. And, the merch, my guys, decked out. We got the decked out stuff here. So that's what it is. But we're going to get into the show. We got a good show today. We got a really, really good show. And I'm going to, today we're going to start off talking about Western Conference teams.
Yeah.
Living two completely identities, man. Two identities, So I want to talk about the two coaches that got fired. We got Jenkins and we got Malone.
Yes.
And we'll start off with the Grizzlies. You got a grit and grind coach. He was apparently he was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to help bring that, that grit and grind back to the grindhouse, right? But that the identity that they have now, they went from basically their identity being tough nose, right? Defensive team, always in the top 5 as far as defensive ratings, to shooting up to double digits. I think they're at 12. I want to say now, as far as defensive ratings, like 12. I want to say still decent team, middle of the pack almost.
Yeah.
But they don't have that wing. They started off with Marcus Smart, they had Dylan Brooks, traded him off. He was the scapegoat.
Right.
And they tried this Marcus Smart. It just didn't work. And they are where they are now, right? So you got Taylor Jenkins, who was fired not too long ago. Now you got Michael Malone. Isn't flashy, not a flashy guy at all. Built a drama-free team.
Right.
No issues at all.
None.
And he gets fired, right? My question, though, that I want to ask, what kind of coach wins in the NBA today? Are we talking about a culture builder like Malone, who keeps, the same tone, whether they're winning or losing, or a young coach like Jenkins, who, sometimes he gets swallowed in the storm? Like, what kind of coach wins in the NBA today? My question to you.
I think a coach that has a great relationship and partnership with their GM. You understand?
The GM.
Yes, the GM plays a major role when it comes to, they're the ones that are putting the team together. You know what I mean? And the coach basically has to work with the ingredients that the GM provided him to make this ultimate meal.
Right.
You feel me? So on the Memphis side, first off, you get rid of 5 of Coach Jenkins' assistant coaches.
Right.
5 of them are gone. 5 new ones are in. All right. So right then and there, you're starting from ground zero.
Ground zero. Yeah.
You feel me? You take the ball out, maybe because John Morant was away for a bit.
And he was, fair enough.
I mean?
Like, we got to be fair. Like, John Morant's been in and out of the lineup. Right. He's been in and out of the lineup a lot. Bane's been in and out of the lineup a lot. So it's not like they've been consistent with their team. Like, OKC been consistent with their team. Guys play basketball all the time, right?
Houston as well.
So Houston as well. Like, their guys are always in.
Right.
But,
so I get that part. But at the same time, like, you get rid of Jenkins' coaching staff that he probably handpicked. You know what I mean? You give him something totally different.
Right.
Boom, now you got to deal with, all right, now you're taking the ball out of Ja's hands the majority of the time. So that's some adjusting that Ja got to get used to.
Right.
You feel me? And then I just felt like you guys were just, well, the media were just really harping on Ja's, antics.
Off-court issues.
But it's not even, how could it be an off-court issue if you never really got charged with having, like, for busting a gun or anything along those lines of homicide? You feel me? I feel like they're treating Ja like he's that guy that's just, a menace to society, when really that's far from the truth. The man could actually hoop.
No, but I don't think anybody is denying that he can actually hoop or not. But the question is like, we're talking about professionalism, correct?
Right.
Isaiah Thomas had an issue with LeBron coming to the game with no shirt, even though he's been doing this like for the longest time, shooting around in a do-rag before anybody gets there. He's on the floor shooting, right? We have Ja Morant. Professionalism doesn't exist when it comes to him. You're coming to the game on the sideline and you have a poo shiesty on your face. What, like, that's dumbass shit. Like, are we focusing on the actual game of basketball or the other things? And that's what I think a lot of people have issues with him.
But that has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with what he brings on the basketball court.
But clearly, what he's bringing is more of a distraction. They lost to just look at their record now. Like they're fighting for their lives in the play-in. They are a play-in team,
and that was because of injuries and all that compiled with the antics of Ja. So be it. But I think their record is the way it is because, one, they lost a bunch of coaches on their coaching staff. Two, they kind of changed the whole scheme of how they're going to approach offensively and maybe defensively.
Defensively, 100%,
right,
is an issue.
And three, okay, they got rid of Coach Jenkins, who was my preseason coach of the year if everything would have remained, not knowing that they got rid of the coaching staff.
Right.
But the last 8 games, you know what I mean? Ja's been averaging, even though they went 3-5.
That was my next thing. They've been losing.
28.4 points a game, man. 4.3 rebounds, 6.3 assists, and 48 from the field, and basically 38 from 3. His 3-point shooting has gone up since the fire, since his coach being let go. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it has to do anything with the coach, but now the ball's in his hands a lot more. You know what I mean? And that's how it should have been from the jump. I'm not saying, the coaching staff, they came up with a strategy because he's not around that much. Cool. But when he is around, put the ball in his hand and let him lead. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? And then on the
can he lead though? That's the question.
We don't know.
Is he a good leader? They went from the number 2 seed, now they're a playing team.
Right.
So is he a lead, or do they need that coaching, or do they need that Dylan Brooks guy who's a glue guy? Do they like that's the thing. No one's ever denying his talent and what he can do offensively.
Right.
But we're talking about loose balls, getting to loose balls, 50-50 balls. Like, does he make those type of plays that win games? Because, like you said, in those stats that you gave us, they're 3-5 in that time. So it's not translating to actual wins.
I mean, 2 games under 500, or 3 games on, what was it? 2 games under 500.
But this is the West. This is not the East.
That's what I'm saying.
This is not the East.
And there's such a crazy, there's such a small margin between 4 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or 3 and 10.
Right.
Or 4 and 10, I should say. But that's the West, though.
It is the West.
It is the West. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying on the Memphis side, the GM, he knew what he was doing in regards to maybe they can't afford Ja. So maybe this is their way of getting rid of Ja in the offseason. Who knows? Getting rid of this coach. But now this is, to me, it's a win-win situation because now Ja can really showcase what he's about, and it's at the right time going into the play-in. Great. Watch what he does. You know what I mean? It could translate.
I know you've been an advocate for Ja. I haven't really.
Right.
I've just, the antics for me alone is too much. But I still want you to answer this question. What kind of coach today wins basketball games?
First, a coach that can adapt with his players, that's adaptable, that's relatable to his players.
Mm-hmm.
But on a bigger scale, the GM and the coach got to be on the same page.
Well, that's
Period.
just you got it. Like, first off, you guys are colleagues, right? That's first and foremost. Like, you guys work together,
Right.
So to not be on the same page and not speaking, like, that don't make
And
no
that's
sense.
what happened on the Denver side.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think Coach Malone's been there 10 years. Most winningest coach in Denver history.
Yeah.
You know
and
what
they
I mean?
just
Brought
won
them
a chip like 2 years ago.
Brought them a chip. But then guess what? You get rid of Bruce Bowen. You know what I mean? Or you don't choose to pay him. Bruce Brown,
yeah.
sorry. You get rid of
Katavius.
Yeah. Right?
He's gone.
You guys choose not to pay him. Is that Calvin Booth as the GM making those decisions, bringing in younger talent? Who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe it's a money thing. You pay Jamal. You pay Porter. You know?
Porter was that was too much.
Right?
That was too much money.
At the same time,
that was too much money.
At the same time, you know, their defense went down because their best defender, your man Aaron Gordon, he's been away for how many games this year?
Hurt. He's been hurt. He's been hurt.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So who's there to back up Aaron Gordon? Why couldn't Mr. Calvin Booth make sure he found a backup towards that instead of getting rid of Brown and getting rid of Pope, like guys that they needed, glue guys?
To me, I don't understand. My thing is, I never understand is when you win a championship with a certain squad, why can't we? NBA is like one of the teams that, I mean, sports that it's hard to like bring everybody back with the same formula. Like, you just won.
It's the money.
Bruce Brown, he got to go. He goes and takes a few more, a couple extra dollars, and he's with Indiana, then bounces around to Toronto and goes here and goes there. But it's like, why can't NBA teams, when you win a championship, bring the same team that you won? I think Boston might be the only team, like, in recent years.
And
like,
if they do win, if Boston does go back to back, it proves my point. If Kawhi never left, Toronto would have went back to back. But anyway, I know guys hate me talking about Toronto all the time, but it is what it is. Raptors would have went back to back if they could have kept their team together.
But
right?
That's not.
I think on the player standpoint, or from a player standpoint, as a fan looking in,
right,
it's the money. And whoever's representing these guys, maybe these agents. That's why you see Jaylen Brown and Shea getting rid of their agents. Like, you know what I mean? Giving these bad advice and stuff. Bruh, the money ain't going nowhere. You guys got collective bargaining agreements, TV deals. Like, the money's gonna be solid. You just go out and produce. And I think winning teams, guys take lesser pay, but they figure out ways to get it back. Real agents will help them find ways to get their money. You know what I mean? Stay in a winning situation.
That's what I would say.
But anyway.
So
on the Denver side,
deserved or not deserved?
Well, they're saying on the Denver side, Mike Malone was gonna get fired regardless. They were gonna fire him from time, but they won the chip. You know what I mean? They had the winning formula, even though they
go
Booth
play through.
Yeah,
Joker.
Play through Joker. I just think Booth and Malone, they just kept butting heads.
So the owner. So he said, get rid of both of them. The owner said, fire both of them.
And that was stupid. But anyway,
right before the playoffs,
that was super dumb.
Dumbest thing you can do.
That was the dumbest thing you could do, and then it puts a lot of pressure on Alleman, the new coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because now, sure, you won 2 games, but at the same time, you're going into the playoffs, bro.
They're going into the playoffs.
The playoffs is a different breed, and your coaches that have that experience about what the playoffs is all about, they're the ones that kind of go farther.
Right.
That's why I always say Golden State's gonna be scary. You know what I mean? Golden State's gonna be. Houston may be scary because Coach Amoka, what's his last name? Udoka. He has that championship experience. You know what I mean? So it's like coaches play a huge role. Coaches with experience play a huge role with keeping the guys in check going into the playoffs and adjusting on the fly.
Moving on to the next segment, though, we're talking about. You said that Golden State's going to be scary. So yes. I want to ask you about, give me your top 5 NBA contenders right now who have an opportunity to win the championship this year.
And this is my order.
Okay, let me see your order.
We're going to go with Boston.
That's one.
OKC.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Okay.
Golden State. And Denver.
Okay. I got similar. You know, I got OKC 1, Boston 2, Cleveland 3, Golden State 4, and I got the Lakers at 5.
Well, you know, if Golden State does what they do at 3:30, because 3:30 is the time today. because everybody's playing in the West.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're 48 and 33 right now.
By
Golden State.
5:30, 6 o'clock, we're gonna know where everybody stands. But I think
And
Golden
Draymond
State-
Green might win Defensive Player of the Year.
Golden State gonna beat Clippers today, which means
that's a tough.
which means
is everybody playing? This is a question.
everybody has to play. This game has to deal with your ranking.
Well, Houston, their guys didn't play on Friday.
But they're already submit.
They already clinched.
They're already locked in.
Okay.
They're already locked in. At the end of the day, if Lakers end up meeting Golden State,
I want to see that first round matchup.
Deuces King. Salute to
They're
you.
done.
Lakers are done. Let them try and go small ball, please. Please. Who they gonna try and pick on the small ball? You know what I mean? When Draymond playing the 5. And you got Butler there, bro. Jimmy buckets. Playoff Jimmy. Told you that already, bro. You'll see. You already know what Steph does.
Oh my God.
And Steve Kerr already knows his team. I'm just saying, man. Golden State's gonna be scary, bro.
Okay. Anyways, let's move along. Let's talk about. I know we talked about Draymond Green. We mentioned Dylan Brooks. We mentioned Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Those guys. A lot of those guys have been in the headlines for a lot of off the court issues.
Right.
You know, obviously Ja Morant. You know, he has the celebration. You know, where he throws the grenade.
Which is super dope.
It is actually. I actually like that.
That is super dope.
I actually like that.
And for all you woke folks and guys
that
are being petty with Ja, saying he's throwing a grenade in the crowd. You know how many innocent civilians are in the crowd?
Come on, stop.
Cut the bullshit, bro.
Stop
it, man.
So
I see all the kids in AAU, junior EYBLs going on right now. Shout out Locked In. I see you guys doing your thing. Yo, fam, and Canada Elite. Bruh, the kids are doing it right now. And it looks so tough.
I like it.
It looks so tough,
I actually like
man.
it. That is one of the the one I hate the most is the In the Vein shit.
But that is classic.
That shit drives me. I hate that shit.
That is classic. Shout out D-Lo.
I hate that shit. So I want to ask you guys, what is the best celebration after a shot in the NBA that you've seen? Who you go? You know, we have, like we said, we have Steph. Go to sleep, which is tough.
That's classic.
That's tough.
Go to sleep.
You got Bridges with the gun situation.
That was
you got Ja with the grenade. You have Trey with the ice tray.
Yeah.
And then you got D'Lo with the ice in your vein.
The whole jaw thing, it's not supposed to be a grenade. Apparently, he's saying he's blocking out the noise.
So he's throwing out the garbage.
He's throwing out the garbage, and then he blocks out the noise. That's what he says.
Okay,
he's lying.
We know it's a grenade still.
He's lying.
I like that cover.
He's doing this.
I like that cover up.
What does that mean? You're pulling the pin from the grenade and spinning it, and you're throwing it.
I
like that cover up.
But it's a good cover up. I like that
cover up.
But what do you think is the best celebration after jump shot in the NBA?
The best celebration, man. It's all about timing, right? As well, man. That go to sleep.
That go to sleep is tough.
That goes hard.
It is tough.
You know what I mean?
Because it's like you hit a three.
What about Westbrook's Rockababy?
That is tough.
That is too. That Rockababy is super tough.
I do.
I like that.
It's disrespectful, but I like it though.
That's super disrespectful, man.
You're too little, boy.
You're too little, boy. I don't like that still because the small guards always get that shit. I hate that shit, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? But
I do like that Steph one though. That Steph stuff though. Because Steph has done it in some clutch situations. We've seen Steph do it.
Exactly.
With the Olympics. When he did the Olympics, I was pissed. I'm like, this. And he's doing this.
Put you to
the
sleep.
whole world on notice. Like, everybody's going to bed.
To Boston when he closed out one of them.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And people try to mock him and do it.
Right.
But it's just not the same. You also have Beasley.
Beasley got that
with the little shimmy.
That shit was funny though when Giannis blocked him.
Giannis blocked the shit out of him. Gave him that shimmy. He ain't like that shit.
And then Beasley tried to get all gangster like if Giannis don't know him. Like,
he's like, you are not tough. You were here a few years ago, sir. You were not tough.
I know you.
But who you gonna go with? You're gonna go with Steph?
I'm gonna go with Steph, man. I'm gonna go with Steph.
I like Steph. I like Steph, man, but I don't know, man. That is tough. That's tough. I think I'm gonna rock with Steph too, man. I think I'm gonna rock with Steph too.
But a hard second, control out delete.
Yeah, pause.
Is Ja Morant, man. That grenade, I never seen that before.
The grenade is tough. Like and you cover your ears.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's tough.
You just dropped the grenade on him, bro.
Yeah, I like that one.
That goes hard too,
He's hitting
man.
bombs. He's hitting bombs.
Yes.
I think I think I'm gonna go. I don't really like the shooting, and I hate the ice in your veins shit. It drives me crazy because now you had all the Lakers doing this shit when D'Lo was there.
Right.
And they hit 1 3. They never hit a 3 in 4 or 5 games, and they're doing that shit. It was just driving me crazy. Like, get the hell out of here with that shit.
Well, like when D'Lo did it in Brooklyn, it was cold. Like the 2019 Brooklyn team,
Yeah.
that was the whole team when he was
All-Star D'Lo. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And then when he brought it to the Lakers, we had Dennis Schroeder doing this shit. I was like, listen, man, don't come to Toronto with that bullshit. Yeah, like just no.
And you know who has a classic one? He got entered into the Hall of Fame? Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony, that went viral.
Yes.
That
The
definitely went
shooter
viral.
in the Olympics did that shit to him.
Bogdanovich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Curry. I like Curry, man, because it's like it's so crazy at certain times of the game, clutch times of the game when you hit a shot.
Go to bed.
It's like, go to bed. I like that one. So talk to us in the comments, man. Let us know what is the best celebration after jump shot. Talk to us in the comments. I want to move along to NBA villains. Again, we're talking about Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, all these guys. And I want to ask you, who are your top 5 villains in the NBA today?
Okay.
Because we got a bunch of villains.
Yeah.
You know, we got Vernon Maxwell, Mad Max. You know, you got Charles Barkley, guys who, you know, he never wanted to be.
I would like to pay homage from a history standpoint.
Right.
We didn't mention history at the beginning. Dennis Rodman, bro.
Dennis Rodman,
yep. To me, he's one of the main reasons they secured those 3 chips. Because if you look at it, they played Seattle, which had Sean Kemp.
Yes.
They played Utah twice, which had Karl Malone. Really and truly, if you were to look on paper, skill for skill, that 4 spot should have went to the opposition because I was a Bulls fan.
Right.
And I was like, shit, who's going to guard Sean Kemp? Who's going to guard Karl Malone?
Right.
And what Dennis Rodman did, he may have not have slowed them down statistically, but he was like Goldust. Remember in wrestling?
He made them work.
Remember in wrestling, Goldust?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, Goldust used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? Because he used to
funny looking. He
used to play with your head, bro. Control Alt Delete.
Yes, pause.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But there were some moments in those games, timely moments,
yeah.
when Seattle or Utah had a chance to really take over the game and really shock the world by beating the Bulls.
Yeah.
Nah, Rodman came in with some shenanigans.
And one of the years, I can't remember which year, Karl Malone was MVP.
Right.
So yeah, they had 60-win years. Those teams were 60-win teams in Utah.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. But Rodman used to feel you up, fondle you a bit, do some shit.
At the free throw line, he just look at you and stare at you.
Right?
Yeah.
No. Like, to me,
ultimate villain right there.
That's the ultimate villain because he was winning. He was taking chips. You know what I mean? So from a history standpoint, I'm gonna go with Rodman. But right now, fams,
top five villains in the NBA today.
My top 5. My top 5.
Okay, I'll go while you get yours. Top 5 villains in the NBA today. I'm gonna go with LeBron James. He is. You know what? Sometimes LeBron James can't get out of his own way.
Right.
Like, I don't believe he is a bad person, or I don't even think he wants to be a villain.
Right.
But I think just the things that he says and the things that he does, he's always there and he's always talked about. And I don't think it's hate, right? I think the way he left and went, from Cleveland to Miami, that's when everything started for him to be a villain.
Right.
I think if he stayed in Cleveland all these years, I think he'd be beloved. Right. So it's just like same thing with Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant's on my list too. Kevin Durant, the same thing. Good ones, when he left OKC, before that, he was beloved. Remember, he won the MVP. He was, shouting out his teammates and crying and, "Mom, you're the real MVP," and all that other shit, right? They all loved him. What happened when he went to Golden State?
Right.
One of the most hated. They start talking about everything with him, and he can't win, which he hasn't. But I'm gonna go with Draymond Green. And we all know what Draymond Green is, man. He's out there wrestling with people. He got so much technicals, it's crazy. He cost Golden State a championship.
He did.
I forget the year. 20s. What is it? 26? Not 2016. Was it 2016?
Yeah.
He friggin' kicks or whatever he does to LeBron James, even though he shouldn't have been suspended.
Right.
But still, he can't get out of his own way. Right. Mouth is crazy. Talks the most. Just very disrespectful on the court. He's out there doing the Steph Curry celebration after he hits 1-3 out of like 17 tries, right? But it's at a clutch moment, right? So I got him. I got Westbrook, right? Like,
and that's
everywhere
crazy.
Westbrook goes.
But before that, remember when Batman when Two-Face said, or Joker, I forgot who said it, but you're a hero until you become a villain.
Right.
When Garnett, when KD left OKC, he was the ultimate hero.
Yeah, he
You know
was
what
beloved.
I mean? And then he became MVP and all that good stuff.
Yep.
But then went to Washington and then the other 5 teams, then becomes a villain.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But I got Westbrook. Obviously, goes to all these teams, and he's always the guy and the reason why they lose. So he goes to Washington, does well, whatever. Goes to the Lakers. It's his fault.
Even though it wasn't, but yeah, he was the
Clippers.
scapegoat
It's his fault. Now he's in Denver. The coach just favored him. It's his fault, right? Yeah. They call him West Brick. He's ready to crash out on people. He's ready to fight, right? So, and then I got John Morant. Fearless attitude. Just this guy can't stay out of his own way. He comes to the games with the Pooh Shiesties. He's throwing grenades in the crowd. He's firing rifles and shit.
Yeah.
So he's becoming the guy where we're overlooking his actual talent,
right?
And we're looking at the off-court antics. I'm like, nigga, shut up,
right.
So that's my 5. That's my 5.
All right, my five are a little bit more role player-ish. The theme, I got some superstars in it. No, do I? I got some stars in it.
Okay,
but anyway, I got Isaiah Stewart from Detroit Pistons.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
He want to fight every game.
Shout out the Pistons. They may shot the Knicks.
Yeah, I think so too.
They may shot the Knicks.
I think so too.
Right? But I got Isaiah Stewart. He's fighting everybody. But I think that's the cloth. That's the culture of Detroit now.
Yes. And I think the moment he became the villain is when LeBron James hit him in the face and elbowed him and the blood was leaking.
Right.
And he found out he was bleeding. He's trying to run to get
Yeah. And shout out Isaiah Stewart. He's a yard man at heart. But he may play for Jamaica's national team with Norman Powell. You never know, fam. You know what I mean? And shout out Vibes Cartel. That concert, 2 days in Brooklyn, shut it down. But anyway.
You need to come to Toronto.
Yeah, you need to bring that shit to Toronto. Dylan Brooks. Okay. Draymond Green. I got Halliburton, man. And he's a wrestler. You know what I mean? So he brings that wrestling bad guy bravado, that heel type of mentality to the NBA, I think. I seen Tim Hardaway just want to come out of retirement just to fight the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the man gets in your head, bro. He does that to a lot of guys, and I see how he gets with Detroit, and I see how he gets with the Knicks and Milwaukee. So it's always a a series when those. And
I don't like him, man.
he comes clutch, man. He puts everybody on notice why he was selected on that USA team.
He talks when he's up. I don't like that shit. Talk when you're down, nigga. What did MJ say?
Yeah.
It's easy to talk when you're up.
When you're up, right? When he had the baseball bat, telling my man BJ Armstrong. Yeah. I remember that.
Come on.
And lastly, I'm gonna go with Jaylen Brown. And I think that's just more from a woke standpoint.
Right.
I seen him on a pod the other day. USA team. Nike.
Yeah.
The NBA, you know what I mean? He's still talking about creating a Black Wall Street. You know what I mean?
They don't want to hear that shit.
And lastly, I heard him praising Shea for not having an agent, getting rid of his agent. He represents himself as well.
Yeah.
So he's on to something in regards to maybe guys should start doing a little bit more homework or coming to him for advice on representing themselves.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So I look at you as, from an NBA standpoint, that's very villain. That's some villain shit right there.
Yeah.
Right? So my villains are Isaiah Stewart, Dylan Brooks, Draymond Green. Draymond Green, Tyrese Halliburton, Jaylen Brown.
Mine is LeBron James, Draymond Green, Russell Westbrook. Try to say that 5 times fast. Kevin Durant and John Morant. Talk to us in the comments. Let us know your top 5 villains in the NBA today. Talk to us in the comments. But I'm moving along where we're on the same theme as talking about villains. And I want to do this. This is Canadian Watch. I always want to talk about one of our Canadians who are doing well in the NBA. And this week's, we got to talk about Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks, and the question I have for you and everybody else, was Dylan Brooks the most important player when he played for Memphis Grizzlies? And before you answer that, the villain who became the heartbeat of Memphis. He was the heartbeat. They when they lost, he was the scapegoat on the reason why they lost. We had guys like Shaquille O'Neal who came out publicly, and other players were saying that this guy will never play in the NBA again. Why? I don't even think it was more so of his bad play. I think it was more so of just because he was getting into a trash talking battle with LeBron James, right? I want to talk about Memphis. I want to talk about Dillon Brooks. To most fans, Dillon Brooks is a villain. He's the villain, right? 100%. He is the villain. Trash talker.
Dillon the villain?
Dillon the villain, right? Trash talker. The guy who gets under your skin, plays with a chip on his shoulder. All of those things that he has is what Memphis stands by. The grindhouse, right? And they let him go. And when they let him go, I'm talking about defensive ratings. Let's talk about defensive ratings with Memphis. Memphis defensive rating right now is 112.8. They're 12th without Dillon Brooks right now. 47 and 34, I believe the record is right now. And they are fighting for their lives in the play-in, right? This year, we're going to talk about Houston's defensive rating is at 110. They are 4th in the league. Fourth. Just pay attention. 4th. They clinched a second place seed in the West.
Congrats.
Second place. We're talking about Houston.
Young Houston.
They're 4th. Their defensive rating is 4th. Their record is 52 and 29. Clinched a second. They clinched a second. And again, he might not be a star. He might not be an NBA star, but guess what he is? He is the glue to the team, and he was the glue to Memphis. And I think it was wrong how they did him. Like this year, he's shooting at an all-time high. We'll go to offense now. We did defense. We'll go to offense. Right now, he's averaging 14. He's averaging 14. 14. Damn, why is it moving? He's averaging 14, 3, and 2 assists right now. He's shooting 39% from 3. 39, which is his best year.
I would say 40. It's 39.7. I'm rounding that shit up.
Okay, let's do 40.
I'm rounding that shit
let's
up. Let's
do 40. But he's shooting 40%. If you look down in all of his years in the NBA, all years, and this is his highest percentage that he's shooting from 3. He has the most rebounds he's ever had in all of his years playing in the league. So we got to shout out to Tyndale for getting that jump shot right.
Come on, Tyndale. We see you, baby.
So,
happy belated birthday, my boy.
Yeah, so my question, was Dillon Brooks the most important player to Memphis? The grindhouse. That's my question for you guys, my question for you.
I think he was one of the most important players. Like I said, you got rid of a whole coaching staff, basically, with Dillon Brooks. You know what I mean? Of course, that's just a recipe for disaster, you know? And they kind of, on the Memphis side, they kind of used him as a scapegoat.
Yes.
The writing was on the wall. You were calling out John Morant from 2 episodes ago. I mean, 2 seasons ago. You feel me?
I sure did.
With his antics.
I sure did.
And they kind of utilized, which was very messed up. They used Dillon Brooks as a scapegoat. But the last 6 years that he was there with the Grizzlies, you know, he was only averaging 14.5, 3.1 rebounds.
He had a couple years we averaged 18, I believe. 18.
But like you said, he was shot only 34% from the 3. And he was guarding the best players.
Every single night.
Night in, night out.
And that's what I think an issue is with Memphis this year, as far as who guards perimeter guys. You got Bane and you have Ja. Ja is not the greatest defender. He's not. And Dillon Brooks, yes, you have Jaren Jackson, who is
the cleanup man.
Yeah, he's the cleanup man. And you have Zach Edey, who are both cleanup guys, right? Rebounds and rim protectors, right? But who do you have to contain? And that was Dillon Brooks. Again, they tried with Marcus Smart. He was always, he wasn't healthy ever. And it just didn't work. They got rid of him. So who was that guy? Baines is not that guy. You know, it just fit perfect.
It did.
It fit perfect for Dillon Brooks to be there. And what he represents is what Memphis is. The grindhouse.
And the crazy thing, people were laughing at Houston for when Houston signed Fred VanVleet to that big contract. When they picked up Dillon Brooks, they picked up Udoka.
They definitely laughed.
You know what I mean? They were laughing. Now who's laughing, fams? You got Dillon Brooks. You got a mean Tom. Like those are mean brothers. Well, the twins.
Yeah, Amen and Asor.
Right?
Yeah.
look what they're doing
The
in
Twins.
Detroit and look what they're doing in Houston.
Oh man,
You know what I mean?
Can defend, and they're athletic.
That effect is
Them two
real.
boys, yeah.
That effect is real.
Yeah, yeah.
And you mix that with Adoka's. He's a mod youth still.
Yeah, he's a genius.
He's kind of
Yeah.
mod upstairs, like, because he wants to smoke like he's still a player.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
He ready to fight.
I seen him getting at it with Steph.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see him getting at it with LeBron.
Yeah, yeah.
You feel me?
He ready to fight.
You mix that with Fred VanVleet's mentality, with one of the Thompson brothers,
Thompson twins, yeah.
Thompson twins,
Yeah.
and Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. That's a recipe for success.
I still don't have
For
him
the
as a
future.
contender, but
Listen, they're scary. They could
with-
shock the world.
with Şengün, I just don't think they have that superstar. And with Jalen Green, I think that if they can trade Jalen Green and maybe some picks to get a bona fide star, like maybe they should trade Jalen Green and bring in KD. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see.
I think a lot of these young teams and teams in general need more vets, bro.
Yeah. Well,
they need more vets. Man.
Well, your boy's a vet. Fred, he's a vet. He's one of the best in the team, and he has experience.
Exactly.
Obviously, winning a championship with the Raptors 2019. Let's get it.
You need more vets in the locker room instead of these vet women that you guys are picking up. These women that are older than you by countless numbers.
What?
You know what I mean? Really and truly, those are the new locker room vets.
Oh man,
you know what I mean? We got to switch that up, though. We got to switch that up.
Let's switch it up. But again, talk to us in the comments. Let us know, was Dylan Brooks Memphis Grizzlies' most important player? Talk to us in the comments. Let's move along. So again, Luther video. We're moving on to hip hop.
Yeah.
Luther video came out.
Yeah.
And what is your thoughts right away when you seen this video? I watched it.
Every time I watch Luther, the video,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Disclaimer. You know what I mean? Full disclaimer. I like the video. You know what I mean? But the reason why I like the video, The Wood was my favorite movie, non-basketball, just movie to watch.
Right.
I could watch that 85 million times. The Wood. And there's a scene where Mike and Alicia, you know, Mike came from North Carolina, moved to Inglewood. He likes Alicia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He finds out Luther Vandross, If This World Was Mine, track was the track. School dance was happening.
Yeah, I remember that.
Popped in the Tic Tac. She's brushing off mans when that song came on, but when Mike asked her, you know what I mean? She gave him the bubble. And it wasn't a real Toronto daggering. It was face to face, caressing each other like, you know what I mean? And in the Luther video, they kind of did that. You know what I mean? So the video is tough. It brought back memories for me in regards to bringing back memories about the Wood. But yeah, I see what he's doing. I noticed that he got I forgot the
her name is Karina Evans. Karina Evans. She's from Toronto. She's done God's Plan, Nice for What, In My Feelings. So she's done a lot of Drake's videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not rocking with you. Anyways, no, I'm joking. But the video to me is just lackluster. It's boring. I like the song.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. I like that song.
Yeah.
Luther is a very good song, but I don't think that's video worthy. Like, I don't think that song is video. He has other songs on GNX that I think would be better suited for videos.
Right.
I just think I'm not watching that video again. I'm just being honest.
School dances, yo. You know,
I ain't watching that video.
The last 5 minutes,
it's just all right.
the last
It's okay.
20 minutes of a school dance. You know what I mean?
It's cool.
That's the time you find your shorty and just
But
it brought that type of vibe, man.
But one thing that I do want to say, as far as it's like, GNX has been out for quite some time now, right? And Nokia is going crazy. The Nokia video, right? Similar style as black and white. It's going crazy. And people feel like by Drake dropping that music video, it's helping it on the charts, top 100 charts. And it's helping it catapult to, you know, the top. Right now it's number 2. And people felt like Kendrick was like, oh shit, I gotta do something. I don't want this guy to dethrone me at number 1.
Right.
Let me come out and drop this music video. And then boom, here we come with the Luther.
Right.
With the Luther video, right?
Right.
I don't know how true it is, but I know that bitch is at like 10 million views already. Stop botting, my guy. Just stop, yo. The bots is crazy.
But yo,
like,
I got
crazy.
a question. Like, this whole Kendrick Drake beef.
Yep. It'll,
You know
it'll
what I
be
mean?
forever.
It's gonna be
never gonna
forever.
end.
It's kind of bringing me to, 50 versus Ja. But a lot of people try to say Drake is Ja.
Ain't
I
no
feel
damn
like
way.
I feel like Drake is 50 and
Ain't no way.
Kendrick is Ja. You know what I mean? But I want to know what everybody else thinks. Do you see the similarities?
I can't see it.
You can't see it?
Nah, because once like Kendrick's still rolling, and again, Drake is still, Drake is not dead. Like he has a number one record. His album is still like top 5 on Apple Music. I think the song is number 1 on Apple, number 1 on Spotify Global. So it's like he's still, no one died. Like Ja, like once 50 killed him, it was over. He couldn't come back with nothing. And I think he made a few of the wrong moves trying to sound street and things like that.
Right.
But my question to you and everybody else, which video do you think is better? Because now this is not a complete hip-hop record.
Right.
This nigga Kendrick is singing. He got the melodies. I told you I like Kendrick better with the melodies, right? So who has the better video?
Yeah.
Nokia or Luther? Talk to us in the comments. What is your thoughts?
Nokia. Baby girl. Hey. Nokia all day, baby.
Talk to us in the comments. Let us know, man. But I wanna say a few things before we go. Drake. They're gonna say we're glazing and all this other stuff. Whatever.
But you guys don't glaze for LeBron.
But we can't state facts. We just can't state the facts.
Give him some facts, man.
Drake becomes the first artist in history to surpass 500 million RIAA certified units across the album singles and features. That's one. Drake has surpassed the Beatles on Billboard records. Anyways, but they said he was a corpse. He said he was dead. They said it was that era.
Right.
It still looks like it's Drake's era to me. I don't know. Guys have a moment, as he should. Yeah. Kendrick is, he's fire, right? He should have a moment.
Right.
But when we're talking about the era, what is an era?
Is it 10, 15 years? I don't know.
A decade is 10 years, but what's an era? Like when you say dot era, you can't say it's his era when he has a moment. Yeah, that's a moment.
That's solid, man.
Right? So before we go, any things, I know Baca had an interview, talking about, I guess Drake gave him the go ahead to have this interview. I don't know how it went, but he said that he was going to respond. First thing he was going to do, he's going to respond, and but it went crazy because he didn't actually talk about the weird case. Right. People felt like he went to jail for 13 or 14 years or whatever for, a weird case with the sexual assault stuff.
But that was far from the truth.
It wasn't. It was more, an attempted murder. Right. So, but
I like how Baca just let it be known, like, yo, if you really want to do your research, which the internet will do, you'll see the truth will come out. You know what I mean? So he just fell back. That was smart on his part. You know what I mean? And
didn't say too much. Yeah. Gave you a little.
Just hold that.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that. But Hoop Summit just passed, man. Team USA versus the world.
Very good game.
Shout out AJ the Banster.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He went off.
Man. He had 24. You know what I mean? Could have had more. He went scoreless in the second quarter, but the guards got to get theirs. I get it.
Pro game. And Boozer. Shout out to Boozer, man. Boozer had like 20 something and 15, 16 rebounds.
Right.
60, I guess he has a record in the Hoop Summit as far as rebounds. He went off.
Right. So you got USA versus the world. I think that theme should carry on into the NBA as well during All-Star weekend. Yep. But one thing I noticed that Kiyan Anthony was playing for Team Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
You know what I mean?
You had Trevor Ariza's son with Japan.
Right.
And you had another young man, he's from California. He was with Benin.
Right.
And those guys both, he played in the McDonald's All-American game. He's the top scorer in California history. I forget his name. Azui. It's an interesting name, but he's going to Baylor. He's tough.
Right.
He's tough.
But at the end, what I like to bring up is a lot of these players that are American born, but their parents are from other countries.
Yep.
They're playing for those other countries.
Yep.
So you see Norman Powell, committing to Jamaica.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot more guys committing to Jamaica. There'll probably be a lot of Canadians that have lineage in other countries, probably play for that, you know, because Team Canada's booked. Team USA is booked.
I played for junior national Jamaican team.
Right.
I also had my Nigerian passport as well. So
that's what I'm saying. So that could be another route for the Hoopers, man. It was kind of dope to see.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, that's it, man. Just continue to support. You know what I mean? Hit that like button on all social media platforms. Hit that notification button. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes, sir.
Share it. And we're just gonna keep working, man. We're gonna keep working, man.
Keep working, man.
Shout out Title League, man. You know what I mean? You gotta do your thing all day, every day, man.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
We're out.